Today is Sunday Fun Day on the 1923 Austin 7 Brooklands Racer Post Office Special Cycle Cart, and today is Hood Day. I'm a little scared to start doing a video on how I'm going to do this because I do it. If I do it this way, chances are it won't work or something will be screwy. But we're going to give this a shot. So I'm going to try to do clips of video as I go through doing it. So the first step is I'm going to make a template with paper, and we'll see if fit up works out okay like that. And then if that works, I'll transfer it to a sheet of aluminum, which I got to get out. I think it's 032 or 034. It's not super thick. And the aim is to do it in one piece. And previous hoods I've made, I've done the hinge down the middle, and I got fancy with it. This one I'm trying to be a little bit more simple and quick, and because I don't plan to get in and out of there a whole lot, so I'm actually hoping to put this hood on and it somewhat screw down. But we'll see how it goes. All right, let's do a template real quick. First step didn't take long. That was super quick. So what I did was I just threw it over it and held it down, and then started whacking off with the scissors. This because I'm not trying to get it fine-tuned, just get the space covered, and then get it a small enough piece where I could manage it. Just started with my thumb, and there's a crease where I creased the sheet metal for the hood to sit. So I'm just pushing in with my finger, and I'm gonna make that line where I can see it when I remove it right here, and I'm going to trim it down to get this piece a little bit more fine-tuned. I'm also going to leave overhang on the front so it's a little bit longer, and I was going to get ahead of myself. I'm going to transfer it to the metal. I'll leave a little bit extra space, but let me get there. Let me trim on this a second. Got a little greedy cutting away. I cut just a little bit more than I should back here. And then I definitely cut more on the side right here. And look, paper's cheap. This is just, all this is a heavyweight packing paper from a move. I got a big roll of stuff over there. You know, I really like poster board. Poster board works really, really good for this. You get the big poster, I don't know what you call it, poster board from Walmart. That works really, really well because you can kind of bend it. It'll hold its shape a little bit, and then it makes it really, really good for making templates. I'm going to transfer, I got a little bit short in that other side. Otherwise, it's pretty good. I know it doesn't look good, but it is, or it seems to be. And when I transfer it, I'm going to go a little bit big. Let's look at that. This part isn't rocket science, but you do want to look at where your factory cut edge is on this piece of metal. If you're like me and you have a hard time, you struggle getting a straight cut on this sheet metal, the sheet aluminum, you want to use that straight edge if it's a nice clean edge. So I'm going to use that for one of my sides. I've given it an eighth of an inch, eighth to a quarter rather, of overage. And then I've got overage in the back. Good bit of overage, and then I want an inch the rest of the way. So let's get that cut on the bench. Well, I guess I had some poster board. I forgot I had that there. That was left over from the Blitz and Bends. All right, our piece is cut and on the bench, courtesy of Harbor Freight's finest pair of sheet metal shears. This is decision time. What do you cut first? What do you start trimming down first? So what I'm gonna pick one edge to start fit up on over there, and that's going to be my left edge, and then I'm going to cut this back edge first and try to get those two. As with cutting metal, measure twice, cut once, take away a little bit at a time. It's real hard to put it back, especially with this sheet aluminum. It's about impossible. So I don't want to go through a whole 4x8 sheet of aluminum doing hoods, so we're going to go a little bit at a time. So I actually think I got it pretty good just by running my hand this way. That seemed to match that line, and it probably just moved on me. It did. And then that seemed to be okay. I'm not worried about it being longer this way. I'm not worried about it being longer this way. and I'm not worried about it being longer this way. I can always trim it back. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, I'm going to take it off. I'm going to try to get the bends. I'm going to try to get a gentle bend in the center, and I'm going to try to get that little bit more of a radius bend right there. Don't have a bender that'll do that, so I'm going to use my leg. I do have the gas bottle. That's not a bad item to use, but I don't really feel like getting it down, so I'm going to use my knee and see what that does. Got that crown about right, that gentle one. Now I'm going to mark it with a marker so I know where the center of this one is and the center of that one is, because it's not straight back the piece. It's that kind of goes back at a little bit of an angle. And then I'm not going to mark this one because I know from experience, once I get this one kind of bent right, if I make markings here, they might not line up again. So we're going to mark the center of this arch and the center of that arch on both sides of the piece here and try to get that bend right. So a little more bending here, a little more bending there. Bring that down, tighten that up. Not perfect, but pretty close. And it's going to get held down, so it'll get pushed on. I got some trimming to do on the back too. That'll tighten that up, but close enough to start work on this other side. I've got my fit up, not perfect, but very close. So now I'm going to start trimming. My template has run its course now, so I'm going to rip that off, and I'm going to, you can't see through this to find where that crease line is, that crimp line I had put in this sheet metal. So what I'm going to have to do is I got to look here. I can see the beginning of it right there, and then I know it's right there. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to run a piece of tape to let me know where my cut line is on this back piece. It looks like this. Now let's see if I can cut it without cutting my hands and getting off that line. Got it pretty good, nice and tight. The other side looks pretty good. I'm showing you this side because it's the bad side. I used the bandsaw right there. So that's going to need some cleanup, and of course I'll remove some material. And where it went good, I used these, but right-handed, so getting in there without bending it up was a little bit of a challenge. But I'm going to try to use these for the rest of these cuts, and let me get the two sides done. I'm not showing you guys putting these clamps on and off as I remove it to make cuts and everything like that. But remember the clamps, use the clamps at least on one of these spots. It's held back here with this tab I put in just to hold the back of the hood. And it's not perfectly held down, but remember, it's going to be held down by screws or fasteners or belts, whatever it is you decide to hold this thing down by. And you need to hold it down so you know where your edges actually are. So just cut it with the hand shears. I'm gonna pull this tape just so I can get a good idea and look at what we got. And problem with the hand shears, you can see it kind of made a little wavy there. I can hammer and dolly that out, so I'm not too worried about it. And then this edge, I'm also going to, I got a crimping tool that's going to crimp the edge and put a little bit of a line in it. But as long as I get it straight is all I'm really worried about. And it is following that line pretty good. It's actually a little bit high right here. So I could go back and trim just a tiny bit there. I'm happy. Again, not perfect. Just trying to get very close fit up. Okay, and now we got this one marked. Boom, one cut done. It's actually starting, now that we've got it, the back and the two sides trimmed, it's actually starting to look like a hood. Actually looks like a hood. This is a decision point. No, it isn't. I'm going to crimp the edges with this Amazon special crimping tool. I'm going to do a practice piece so I can remember, so I don't crimp in. I want to crimp out because This one is crimped in. So I want this one crimped out. I'm talking to myself to remind myself these crimp out. So that out will kind of go over that. If you do a wire edge, I like doing that. I've used just I don't even have it over there. Yeah, some round stock, 1/8 round stock, and you just do it. You use if you have a break, you break a line where you want it, put that round stock in there, and then you just hammer the round stock or hammer the aluminum around the round stock, and it actually works really, really well. This .032 or 34, whatever this is, aluminum. It makes a really nice wire edge, and it's surprisingly straight and very, very rigid. If you need it to kind of hold its shape better. I don't need that. The crimp will actually help it with the oil can. It'll help give it some rigidity, and that's all I need for it to hold down on there. The wire edge is pretty cool though, so I just want to make sure I mention it. All right, let's crimp this thing and get another fit up. Phone died, so we jumped ahead here a little bit. Oh, I hope it's right side up. So if you can't see that, that is a piece of bar stock aluminum with a riv nut in it, and then it is centered on there. So now I'm going to figure out a nut that I like that'll go on top. Obviously not this one because it's a carriage bolt. And we'll see if it's something neat that I got that could put it down. A wing nut top, or if push come to shove, I'll just use like a hex for the time being. Distractions. So I couldn't find a nut over there for, this is not going to work long term. I got to, I think Speedway has a brass windshield wing nut that looks pretty antique and old. This will do for now, but it's hideous. And I just dropped my locating centerpiece punch screw bolt. There we go. All right, so I have to find the center. I want to get the hole for this perfect in this. So I just chucked this bolt up in the drill press, and then turned it on, and then knocked the head off of it, and then hit it with the angle grinder to get a point. And I don't know if I can do this and video at the same time, and I can't. And it's too long. It's going to hit the shaft. So I'm going to shorten this, and then I'm going to run it up in here with just this tip pointing out, and I'll move the hood where I want it to be, and then I'll tap the hood, and that should give me a hole. Or at least a center punch where to drill a hole for this disgusting bolt I just made. Perfect. You fall down. It's hand tight. And this isn't held down quite perfect. I might go back and bend on it a little bit more, level on it a little bit more to get that crease just about right. But the belts, or whatever I end up using, will help on it immensely. All right, let's do the front. So you see what's going on there, right? Out of focus, not there's some focus. And then I bolted and then ground down the top of that. I still got to clean it up a little bit. They put some rivets in these two, but this is holding a bar going forward with another riv nut in it. And I'd had where I was going to hold it down right here, but aesthetically the hold down wouldn't have looked right because I'm going to fake it being the radiator cap. And that would have looked right by being behind the radiator cap in the hood. So I just did that bracket, and it's got a dog leg in it, or a Z, whatever you want. So it goes out, kicks up, and then over. Then a riv nut, and then it's just holding that. So that'll simultaneously hold the grill, and then the grill will hold the hood, I think. Bam. Not perfect. The fit up right there, you can see that's not exactly perfect, so I could use a little bit of work. Definitely fixable. From driving it, it doesn't look so great, I imagine, the seat. But when it's down on the ground, which we can look at here, clear everywhere. Let's see. Nope. It helps to it helps take the safety bar out of it. What did I do? Try that again. There it goes. All right. Yes. Take off this protective stuff now. Protective cover. Oh, we didn't talk about that at the very beginning. If you're worried about the finish, you obviously want to, when you do your hood, obviously leave the protective film out last. I knew I was going to get this messed up. I wasn't really worried about this one. I'm actually painting this thing British Racing Green, or close to it. I might leave the hood silver, because that's what I did on the last one, and because I ran out of time before John Corey's Mud Wrestle, which was that vehicle's first event. But then I liked it with the silver hood, so I left it that way. So I haven't made up my mind on this one just yet. One thing I did do wrong, it's ever so slight, but the hole in here, I put it off by like an eighth of an inch forward, maybe a quarter of an inch forward. I just pulled the whole thing towards me. So this gap is really big, and that's where it's supposed to be. So it's probably a quarter inch forward. So bugger, I'm gonna have to fill that hole in and fiberglass, and then put it and then move the hole forward to get the grill back just a hair, if I'm worried about it. Honestly, I might not be too worried about it right now. All right, well, that was today's project, or one of today's projects. I got something else planned, but we'll stop the video right there and let this one be all about that hood. Take care.